There are a lot of philosophers who have been hammering this notion into our heads that a man's greatest enemy is greed. Mankind's or humankind's greatest enemy is greed. Greatest vice is greed. That's not true. Mankind's greatest friend is greed. Now, someone might want to rephrase it and say, what I'm referring to is not greed, it's ambition. But how do you decide what is ambition and what is greed? How do you draw the line between the two? No, let's go back to what this Henry Ford said, or at least what's attributed to him, about cars. When he said, presumably he said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses and not cars, because they did not know the concept of cars. Now, let's say the man who founded cars, I don't remember the name. Let's say in that time, people were asked, like, what do you want to reach from A to B, from point A to point B? They would have said, I want one thing. I'm taking this much time, I'm taking 10 hours to reach from X place to the Y place. I want that 10-hour journey to be reduced to 1 hour. And the typical response would have been, the right response would have been, not that you are being ambitious, but you are being greedy. If in 1930s or 40s, when you sat down with a person and said how comfortable, how convenient it has all become, that we can talk. I'm sitting in India, I can talk to someone sitting in America, thousands of miles away, with just a handset and some cables hooked on to me. That's amazing invention, and that person would have replied, no, I don't want all these cables. I don't want to be tied to a socket, to a box. I want to be able to walk while I talk to someone in America. You would have said, you stop being greedy. That may be a loose analogy, but you get my point. You can think of a better example in your own head, I'm sure of that. So how do you decide? How do you decide what is a greed and what is an ambition? To me, if you ask me personally, what is a man's greatest vice? Let's restrict it to a man. I'm not being a sexist here. Being a man, because I identify with vices of a man more. So I'm not excluding women here. I'm just trying to, I cannot pretend to have a perspective of a woman. I'm not that smart. I have a perspective of a man. So I will talk from that perspective. So according to me, a man's greatest vice is sexual urge. That is what distracts us from achieving or from wanting to achieve great things. See, at the end of the day, what enables you to achieve anything in life is time. When you are dedicating a given amount of time to ideas, to executing those ideas, to implementing those ideas, but when you are spending that time, those seconds, those minutes, those hours, or cumulatively those weeks, into fantasizing about women, into imagining up fulfilling your sexual desires with women you can't be with, or maybe you can be with, that is your greatest vice. Everything else qualifies, of course. Video games qualifies, cricket match, movies. But when it comes to sexual urges, men have turned into criminals. As opposed to that, if you have a greed, worst thing you can do to yourself is run after that greed. And that is good. You should have a greed. Is a greed for money making you commit crimes? That's different. Just because a given man's greed motivates him to loot a bank should not give greed a bad name. Let's just say that that person is too ambitious. That person does not want a 9 to 5 job. That person does not want to earn $1 million over a period of 10 years. That person wants to earn $1 million in a matter of minutes or hours. So he loots a bank. I can call it ambition with perfect utility. Who are you to tell me otherwise? Do you have any evidence that it is not ambition but a greed? No, you don't. All you have is an imagined sense of morality. That is it. That is not evidence. Right and wrong do not make for evidence. That is what we decide. And what's wrong now? What's wrong now in 2021? Maybe the most right, maybe the most justified thing that have been done in 2071. Challenging religion was considered a sin 500 years ago. You were a man of no character if you believed in science over religion. But you are a smart man now. In 2021, you are a smart man. You are a man of virtue if you value science over religion. But that was not the case 500 years ago. What does that tell you? Our sense of morality changes with time. Human values are not consistent.
Subscribe to Legend Martini for your daily dose of lifestyle, movies, fashion, career, health and wellness, and everything else under the sun. Don't forget to hit the bell icon.